Hello guys, in this video we'll start by the second software of this course, which is the Microsoft Excel as a part of Microsoft Office suite software. So it's an electronic spreadsheet with numerous rows and columns. It's used for organizing data, graphically represent data, and performing different calculations. It consists of rows and columns. A row and column together will make a cell. Each cell has an address defined by column name and row number. Example A1, D2, C2, and etc. This is also known as cell reference. So the address or name of a cell or a range of cells is known as cell reference. It helps the software to identify the cell from where the data or value is to be used in the formula. We can reference the cell of other worksheet and also of other program. So let's first create a new Microsoft Excel document. I can right click on the desktop and new and Microsoft Excel worksheet. This view or this screen represents the Microsoft Excel. Here I have the workbook. This is my workbook. And in this tabs here, you can create or access the worksheet inside your workbook. So here, for example, I have a sheet 1, which represents the worksheet inside my workbook. I can rename my sheet. So right click, rename. Also, I can add another sheet by clicking on this plus icon. So now I have a second sheet or second worksheet inside my workbook. I can rename the second sheet as follows. I can have another sheets. Now, if we want to delete a worksheet, we can simply right click on the sheet, then click on delete. I can add a worksheet by right click on the mouse, then click on insert. I can select a worksheet, or I can click on the plus icon here to create a new sheet. I can move my worksheet. So let's say I want this sheet to be at the first. So I can hold on the left click on the mouse, then drag this sheet to any position I want. I can drag and drop my sheet to any position I want. And if I need to delete the worksheet, I can right click on the mouse and then click on delete. Now we can change the tab color of the sheet. So to change the tab color, we right click on the sheet name, then click on tab color, and we can assign or select any color from the available. So let's say the color red, I want to change the color of this sheet to a blue. Now, if you want to copy a sheet, I can right-click on the sheet, then click on Move or Copy. I can create a copy of, for example, the sheet name My Sheet. Create a copy, and I can move it to the end or before the selected sheet. So here in my case, I'm copying my sheet 2, and by selecting the checkbox here, create a copy, and I need to move it to the end, which means after the sheet name, my sheet 2. So here I have a copy, a new sheet copied from the sheet name, my sheet 2. We can also hide a sheet. So to hide any sheet, we right click on the sheet and click on hide. Now my sheet is hidden. To unhide any sheet, we right click, then click on unhide, and here I have all the hidden sheets, so I select the hidden sheet, then click OK, and that's how we can unhide a sheet. As we said before, inside Microsoft Excel worksheet, I have the rows and I have columns. The row and the column together make a cell. So the intersection of the column and the row make a cell reference, and each cell is referenced by a name or address. So for example, this cell, the selected cell, is referenced by the address A1. This cell is referenced by the address B1. It's displayed here. The cell, for example, it's the intersection of the column and the row, is referenced by the address B3. I can select a cell. I can select a range of cells. So let's say I want to select the first 3 cells. I need to hold on the left click on the mouse, then drag the mouse to the right to select these cells. I can select any range of cells I want. Now, if I want to select a row, I can click here on the number. Now is the first row is selected. I can select range of cells or range of rows. I can select a column by clicking here on the column address H. Now if we want to select a range of cells, we left hold on the mouse and select any desired range. Now let's say I want to enter data inside my worksheet. So if I want to add data in the first cell or in the cell with the reference or address A1, I can select the desired cell and here we can write or add any data we want. So let's say here I want to add number 20 in the cell address A1. Now in the cell address A2, let's say I want to add the number 10 in the cell address A3. I want to add the number 5. I can delete the entered data by selecting the cell, then click on delete, or I can remove the entered data by clicking on the backspace on the keyboard, or by clicking on the delete button on the keyboard. I can delete a cell, not only the data inside this cell, by right-click on the desired cell, then click on delete, and here I need to choose an option. So if I delete my selected cell in A3, what should be happen next? Shift cells to the left, which means all cells in this row will be shifted to the left. Shift cells up, which means all the cells in this column will be shifted up. So the cell address A4, the position of the A4 will become now in A3. If I select the entire row, now this entire row, row 3, will be deleted. And if I select entire column, the entire column A, this column will be deleted. I can edit my data inside my cell. So let's say here, for example, I can write another number. I can double click on the cell to edit the number. Let's say backspace to delete the number 8, then click on enter, and now we can edit any cell, any data entered inside the cells. We have some arithmetic operations that can be applied on the cells. So let's say I want to add the number inside the cell address A1 to the number in the cell A2. So I want to add 20 plus 10. So to reference the data inside this cell, I need, for example here, I need to input inside A5, the cell A5, the addition of the number inside A1 to the number inside A2. How to do that? I'm selecting the cell A5. I need to click enter on the keyboard, then select the cells that I want to add. So I need to add the cell A1 or the data inside the cell address A1 plus the data inside the cell A2. And now I can click enter. So the data inside A1 plus the number of data inside A2 will be equal to 30. So again, if I want here to display the summation of the data inside A1 and the data inside A2, I need to write another arithmetic operation by clicking on Enter on the keyboard, then selecting the cell address or writing the cell address, let's say here A1 plus the cell A2, then click on Enter. Now the summation of cell A1 and A2 is displayed in the cell address A5. I can review my operation here. If I'm selecting the cell A5, now here I can see the function or the formula inserted or the operation. Now it's A1 plus A2. So here it's A1 plus A2. I'm writing a description to the operation. Now if I want to subtract the value of A1 and A2, so I need to subtract A2 from A1. I need to enter equal A1 minus A2 and hit enter. A1 minus A2 and hit enter. So 20 minus 10, it's 10. Here as description, it's A1 minus A2. Now if I want to multiply the value in A1 and the value in A3, for example, here I can write equal A1 star or times A3, enter. Now this number represents the multiplication of the data inside A1 and the data inside the cell A3. And finally here, if I want to subtract or divide the value in A1 by the value in A2, I need to write here. I can write it directly inside the cell, or I can write it here in the formula area. It's equal to A1 slash or over divide by A3 or A2. So the value will be 2. 20 divided by 10, it's 2. Now in the Microsoft Excel, I have two types of references. I have the relative reference and the absolute reference. The relative and absolute references behave differently when copied and filled to other cells. The relative reference changes when a formula is copied to another cell, while the absolute reference, on the other hand, remain constant no matter where they are copied. So let's say here, for example, I have the following data. Let me change this. So here, for example, I have data 1, data 2, and here I need to calculate the total of data 1 and data 2, or the summation of data 1 and data 2 in each row. So here, for example, if I want to summate the data 1 and data 2 in this row, I need to add or select the cell address, which is A2, plus the cell address of data 2, which is B2. Now if I click enter here, the total of A2 or data 1 and data 2, it's equal to A2 plus B2, which is equal to 30. And the same now is applied to the row number 3. So here, if I need to summate the data 1 and data 2 in the selected row, I need to write the cell address of data 1, which is A3, plus the cell address of data 2, which is B3. Now I can click on enter. So here it's A2 plus B2, and here it's A3 plus B3. Now let's say I have many data here, for example, and I need to apply the same formula on the remaining data. So here, if I need to calculate the total of data 1 plus data 2 in the row number 4, I need to write again equal A4 plus B4. Here in C5, I need to enter A5 plus B5. In C6, I need to enter A6 plus B6. While we can use a shortcut to apply the formula here on all the remaining data or cells by here click on this dot, this small box, and drag to other cells. Now the remaining cells are filled automatically based on the previous formula, which means the C4 it's equal to A4 plus B4, and C5 it's equal to A5 plus B5. C6 it's equal to A6 plus B6, and C7 it's equal to A7 plus B7, and that's named the relative reference. The reference here is changed when a formula is copied to another cell. So here I'm adding A2 plus B2. I'm copying this formula with the cell C3. So now it's A3 plus B3. And that reference is named relative reference. I have another reference named the absolute reference. The absolute reference, let's say here I have some data in the cell number H1. For example, I have 1. Let's suppose here in the following cells I need to calculate the final total, which is equal to the total plus the data inside the cell H1. So in D2 it's equal to the data inside the total, which is equal to C2 plus the data inside H1. Now if I click enter, the result is showed here in this cell. But here I'm still using the relative reference. Let's see what happens if I drag here the formula to fill the remaining cells. So in D2 it's equal to C2 plus H1. Now in D3 it's equal to C3, which is right, but here I have plus H2. Why? Because it's the relative reference, which means the change when a formula, or it's changed, the cell address is changed when the formula is copied to another cells. So as displayed here, C2 it's equal to A2 plus B2. C3 it's equal to A3 plus B3, and the same apply here while using the relative reference. D2 it's equal to C2 plus H1. Now moving to the second row or third row, the D3 is equal to H2 to A3. Sorry, D3 is equal to C3 plus now H2. Then it's H3 here, and here it's H4, H5, H6. So to make this reference absolute and remain constant no matter where they are copied, I need to, while writing the operation here, I need to write the $sign between the cell or the column and row as shown here. So it's $1. Now if I click enter and here I drag the formula to fill the remaining cells, so as we see here the answer will be correct. So it's C3 plus 1 plus H1, which is 1, 16 plus 1, it's 17, 80 plus 1, 81, 33 plus 1, it's 34, and here the cell is fixed and remain H1.